Hello, welcome to my second video. These are the oak drawers I mentioned in the last video. Basically, to give you a little context, I had a workbench out in the garage that I brought down here, and I've got tools and nuts and bolts and nails and screws all over the place, and I need to get organized. So I've got the workbench over here. I've got my pegboard up for mounting tools behind my workbench. I'm going to, as part of this, hang these two organizers up on the center block, and then when it comes to the oak drawers, there's 40, that's 4 by 10 of these guys. I've got all the drawers for it, and this, like I think I said last time, it's got to be at least 100 years old. It was 50 or 60 years ago that my dad got it, and it was old at the time. But I want to, it's a little wobbly, so I'm going to paint that piece of plywood that I've already cut to fit and screw that in and make a back for it, basically, which it doesn't have now. And paint the pegboard that's on the side here. And then as far as the oak itself, we'll use some boiled linseed oil to clean that up, and the drawers themselves, and I've got some beeswax too to make sure they slide in and out okay. So I want to get that done as part of this, and I think that's about it. So what I'll do next is we'll mount these guys on the wall, and then we'll start painting the back and the side here to get that done. All right? Okay. First thing we're going to do is hang up these two guys to help organize stuff. So what I wanted to do is I made little pencil marks on the top that match up with where the holes are, so that it helps me when I put it up here where I want it. So I get that roughly level. And then I'll use my pencil again. Pencil's always good. Better if you have a carpenter's pencil, but this will work. And depending on what you're putting it on, you can always take pencil off. So that comes in handy. I am going to make those a little bit brighter because I can't hardly see them. So, literally X marks the spot. And we want to check distance to the bottom of the block. 3 inches there, 3 inches there. So, if I was doing it on a plain wall, I've got a laser level that you can put on one and it'll shoot a straight line across, but since we have straight lines, we're good on that. You also, tendency would be, if you're drilling into a concrete wall, to go into the mortar. Because it's softer, it's easier to drill into, but because it's softer, it's weaker, and you really shouldn't do that. You should go into the block itself. So that one's lined up, ready to go. Do this guy. Same thing, I've got these measured, and I'm going to go here. I can't see it on this one. So, a little bit bigger line. Flat. That. Mark that. And again, we'll measure just to make me feel better. 3.5 inches on this one. 3.5 inches on this. Okay. All right. So I've got a pack of screws and anchors. So this is made for a 1/4 inch drill bit. So, and it'll hold like 600 pounds, something like that. It's way more than I need for this. Even though they're not very big, they're still plenty big. And my 1/4 inch masonry drill bit. So let's get to drilling. Oh, hold on. Had my drill on slow. Thought that was going way too slow. There we go. That's better. Good. And then do this one. And this one. Whoop. Started to move on me. Guy and that guy, and then just tap them in so they're flush. Be beautiful. Take the drill bit out. And put my Coke set back in. Now I want it on slow. And we'll get the screw. A little bit, and then we'll see where I really need him to be. So this guy, that one could be snugger. That one's pretty good. Alrighty, that one's good. And this one. Got this guy. There we go. it's not good. This one's pretty good. So. Beautiful. Drawer in. Okay. So now, next time you see, because there'll be future projects where I'm down here, and I'll have all my tools organized, and I'll have this stuff done. Right now I'm going to clean up the concrete dust, and then we'll get to painting. Okay. So, I bought a quart of, again, that's the Sherwin-Williams color. It's cabin plank, or brown. Bought it a couple months ago, so it probably needs stirred up a little bit. Well, I don't know. Looks pretty good. Do that over here on the plywood in case I spill any. Seems to be pretty good. So let me set that there. In this case, I got a 3-inch brush. Oh, actually. I'm going to use almost too big for the jar, but oh well. This, I don't want to go over too heavy because I don't want to fill in the holes, even though I am already. And I should have taken the plywood or the pegboard off, but it's what my dad had on there, so I just wanted to leave it alone. But I didn't need yellow. Get any on the top. It'll definitely take 2 coats to cover the yellow. Anytime you're covering a light color with a dark color, it makes it a little extra difficult. I just use the bottom part of my toolbox here as a little rolling table. It works pretty good to get the plywood up so that I don't have to bend over too much to get to it. And again, I'm going to end up, after we get both sides of this painted, we'll screw it on the back, and hopefully that'll give it a little bit more strength. Okay, so I've got the pegboard with 2 coats on it. I've got the back with 2 coats on both sides. And when I laid this down so the back is up, I see that it did used to have a back on it. I didn't realize that. It must have been quite a while back. No pun intended. So anyway, I have a bunch of little nails poking out. So I'm going to pull these guys. Nothing there. That's nothing. And a couple over here. Okay. That's, oh no, this one. Right here. Alright, now those birds, nope, they're good. Alright, just want to make sure it's on. So, I'm going to lay the plywood back on it. Probably could have gone thinner with this, but I had this, I think it's 1/2 inch, laying around, so I used that. So make it nice and smooth. Okay. And confirm we're okay on this side. And we are. And then the next step is going to use these screws and pre-drill everything. So what you want to do, and this is a term I had to look up, but when you look at a screw, the distance on the stem in between the threads, between the narrowest part, is called the minor diameter. So whenever you're pre-drilling, you want your drill bit to be no bigger than that. Maybe a little bit smaller is good, but you're just trying to take the wood that's going to be displaced by that stem out of the way, but you still want the threads to hold on. So anyway, we're going to put one right here. That's not one. Nope, nope, nope. My mistake. Okay, so I got this one drilled, but I want to mark these guys already. So I was looking for the board that goes along in the back here, and I marked them here, so this guy should go in okay. A little easy. On this side, one more in the middle. All right. So then I switch out my drill bit and go back to my Phillips head bit. Switch it back down the low. All right. Okay. This one. Now I didn't like the way this guy went in, so I'm going to look at that and maybe have to re-drill that one. This one should be solid. Okay. Alright. And I forgot to drill this guy. So, in the never-ending joy of switching things in and out, back to the drill bit. Okay. This one. Drill bit. There we go. Got pinched. Alright. That one, and back over here. I think. Yep, I missed that guy. It should be here. Much better. Alright. Can't hold on to anything today. Back on slow. Outside one here. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, and I guess I never tightened this one up, the first one I put in. Alright. Alright, so there. That's good. Okay, we now have a back, and it is considerably more stable. Extra nail hanging out there. So, the next thing is these boards on the side. Again, nothing fancy here, but just want to clean them up. Let's get this. So I'll take one of the nails that I pulled down the back and use it to replace the one that was bent. Okay. There's nothing on that corner. Recycling 100-year-old nails. That'll work. Didn't hit anything. Just a little bit farther out. There we go. Okay. So now what I'm going to use is some cotton rags to put the boiled linseed oil on the wood. Do that here on the side and on the front. I'll tip it around to do that so you can see that as I'm doing it, and then we'll start working on the drawers. Okay, I've got it repositioned here. Again, Nothing too fancy. It's just a couple old boards on the side. I don't know what exactly that is. It's a dark wood. It's not pine. It's something better than that. I don't think it's oak, but I don't know. And there is water damage on the bottom. I'm just trying to give it a little bit of its original coat back. So just pour a little bit of the boiled linseed oil on there. And this is just old, I mean, these are just some cotton rags I've got. It'll soak into the wood, helps protect it what it can at this point. It's what they largely used to use in the days before polyurethanes and all those kind of things. And where polyurethane coats the wood and gives you a protective coat on top, this actually soaks in to the wood. Too big a rag. Makes it hard to do this. And extra generous where it's got the water damage. Not that it's going to magically fix things, but just rub it in. Obviously you don't want to leave a bunch of cotton on it, but more up here on the side. Looks a lot better. And we'll do this one as well. Show you before I get that all done. It's hard to see, but you can see how much darker the wood is where it's soaked in the linseed oil compared to here on the end where I haven't done it yet. So anyway, just trying to preserve something that has been in the family for a while, and I'd like to keep in the family for a while. Here the oak. A little rough. Okay. I'm going to flip it over and do the front now. Okay, it's kind of hard to pick up with the lighting, but the front does look a lot better after going over it with the linseed oil. The top here is something, again, this goes way back, and I don't know what you actually call this material. It's kind of like half particle board, half blotter kind of stuff that was used for the top of this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that with the linseed oil too. It is, you know, it's wood based, so it should soak that up and help it a little bit. And then I'm going to do the front of a couple of drawers, see that they fit okay here, and then I'll speed things up to do the rest of the drawers. So let me put this back on the tripod. Actually, you can't see the top. So let's do that. Clean towel. Just soak that right up. Okay. Still got stains on it and everything else, but again, it'll help preserve it in the long run. So if I take one of these drawers, and you'll see, kind of dirty, the wood on the inside of the drawer is fairly pretty too. Not oak on the inside, oak on the front. I'm just going to wipe these out on the inside. And then get a little extra oil on here for doing the front. Soaks that right up. And then we just put her in there. One down. Do one more here real quick. Again, the insides look really nice. A little bit more. I'm going to speed things up and get the rest of them cleaned up, and then I'll come back. Just wanted to show you one up close. I don't think you got a very good view before, so you can see how bleached out that drawer front looks. Very dry. It's just soaking that right up. Now you can see the difference. Alright. Alright. All done. Ends up, the drawers slide in and out pretty nice. I bought some beeswax to try to lubricate them, but I didn't even need to use it. They work pretty good. It's a nice piece that I think most old timers would like to have in their workshop. I've got a drawer now. I can find drawers for everything from chisels to staple guns to glues, lubricants, whatever you want. I can have all that stuff in a separate place so I can find it easily. Unfortunately, it doesn't give me any excuse to not get organized, but that's my problem. That's what I wanted to get through this week, so that's the end of this week's show. But next week we start upstairs in another spare bedroom. This one's a little more complicated than the first one. We're going to paint the ceiling as well as the walls, replace the ceiling fan with a dimmer and a variable speed switch on the wall as well, and then build a bookshelf with cubes for storage in it. So that will take a couple weeks to get through, but that's what we start next weekend. So anyway, till then, God bless you and yours, and don't forget to subscribe.